Welcome to the New School of Marketing podcast, the place for smart, simple strategies that will amplify your business results. Sharing practical tips, insider knowledge, and actionable advice because marketing is something that every business owner can do. Now, let's get started. Introducing your host, Bianca McKenzie, mum, lover of snow sports, camping, horse riding, and in-demand launch strategist and Facebook advertising knowledge bank.
Welcome to the New School of Marketing podcast. I'm Bianca McKenzie, and today I'm talking about how to sell to the empowered, ready-to-buy client in your content with Swapna Thomas. Swapna Thomas is a marketing coach on a mission to help coaches and change makers to use marketing for good. She is an MBA in marketing, a life coach, and a hypnotist. She's a feminist and believes that nothing bad happens when soul-led women make lots of money. She loves her family, her cat, minimalist home decor, and knowing everything about our brain. Welcome to the show, Swapna. I'm super excited to have you here, and I'm really excited about the conversation that we're going to have.
Thank you so much for having me, Bianca. It's such a pleasure, and I've known you for a while, so this feels like sort of like a reunion for me.
It totally does. And as I was reading your bio out, I'm like, oh yeah, I love your cat too. It's really cute. And of course, you know, being on a mission to, in a way, change the world with marketing. And that's what we're going to talk about. And like you said, we've kind of known each other for a while, and we've been following each other's journeys. And yeah, I feel like in the last 2 years, like you've changed a little bit in terms of your messaging, and I'm really loving all of it. So that's what we're going to talk about. And the first thing is, you always talk about marketing and your messages are like super on point. There's almost like a strike of rebel in it. So let's dive into it. Why does marketing as we know it no longer work?
So I mentioned, right, I've done MBA in marketing. So I've studied a lot of, evolution of marketing as well, like history of marketing. And marketing started as a way to sell things to people that they didn't really need. So at the time, as a society, we were only focused on fulfilling the basic needs on the Maslow's hierarchy needs. So anything else had to be sold in a way that, made people feel like they need it, even if they did not. So that's why we had a lot of, these advertising people selling cigarettes to women as a health product, right? Doctors recommending cigarettes as a way of losing weight or curbing your appetite. So we had all of this manipulative, pushy, almost condescending marketing going on. I don't know if you have ever watched the series Mad Men, which was all about the advertising industry in 40s to almost like late 60s. And the lead character there, Don Draper, he has a very famous quote. He says that you can't tell people what they want. It has to be what you want, right? So it was almost like treating people as if they have no agency of their own. And you could just use marketing to create a demand for something that people didn't really want. So that's how marketing started its journey. But now as we are moving in higher consciousness, and, that era of marketing was also very colonial, patriarchal. It still is, I believe. A lot of the messaging that we see is so patriarchal. But now as we are moving in consciousness as a society, and especially in the last 2 years, ever since the pandemic, we've sort of had a reckoning, right? So I feel like people are moving away from that kind of marketing or even responding to it. We are able to see through the BS much more clearly. We know what we want, and there is a space for using marketing for good. There's a space to use marketing for change and creating the kind of impact that I know people like you and me and our clients who are all purpose-based entrepreneurs, they want to create that kind of a ripple effect, especially women, right? So that's why I feel like we don't have to look at the playbook of marketing from 50 years ago or even 10 years ago when there was all this bro marketing going on. It still is, but I don't think it works anymore.
No.
Yeah, and definitely not with the kind of clients that you and I aspire to work with.
Yeah, definitely. It's fascinating that you say that because, yeah, if I think back to my degree and all the marketing lessons, like as I'm talking to you right now, I can still see in my vision the principles of marketing book. I don't know, you've probably studied, yeah, I was going to say you probably studied Kotler as well. I literally can see it from where I'm sitting. I still have it. But yeah, it is so different now. Like, and as you were talking, I was like thinking about the quote, selling ice to Eskimos. It's like selling things that people don't need. And I think this is why people have such a yucky feeling when they hear the word marketing. Like non-marketers have that cringe of, oh, marketing, I have to sell. And yeah, I think there's a different way that we look at it in terms of marketing is serving. I've always loved marketing. And I've never seen it as that sort of like that icky kind of thing. It's always been that, how can I help brands and how can I help businesses amplify what they do and do the good in the world? Like I've always, like ever since graduating, I've never ever been able to work for a brand that didn't align with what I believed in. Like I could never work for a cigarette manufacturer. I just, back in when I graduated and back when I went to uni, cigarette advertising was still allowed. Whereas now it's not really allowed anymore, but I could have never ever worked with brands that didn't align with it. So I love that you bring that, you know, to a forefront, that marketing is changing, and yes, it is definitely not longer as we know it. I don't know what they teach in universities right now. They might still be using Kotler. But a lot of it now comes down to content, doesn't it? Like, and yeah, I would love to talk to you a little bit more about that. It's not so much about the one-sided, the telling people what they need. I feel like it's more of a conversation now. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I know you talk a lot about content. So how can we use content in our marketing?
So I talk about speaking to the empowered client, and you know, your marketing completely changes when you do that. One of my principles in marketing is to sell like I buy. So I look at, you know, who are the people that I buy from? What do I like about them? What do I like about their approach? And not just the buying experience, but also the experience of working with them, right? Did they deliver on what they promised? So I try to sell like that, not copy their strategies, but create the same feeling in my clients so that the entire experience feels like a joy, honestly. So that's one of the things I like to create in my content as well, is to give them this feeling that there is no pressure, there is no fake urgency, there is no pushy, manipulative, any kind of sleaze going on. It's just a conversation, like you said, right? I do like to have tough conversations in my content as well, because I feel like people pleasing is not helping my clients in any way. So I will call them out, but it's again in a very compassionate way. I do not use shame in my content. I will never put anyone else down. Like, of course, you know, we see all kinds of strategies going on in the industry. And I think in the early days, I used to get really riled up about it and used to kind of, write controversial posts. I'm making those air quotes right now, calling other people out or their strategies, but that's no longer aligned to me. I feel if we believe in our message, we just need to get louder about it, right? And there is real harm that there might be, some people might be doing real harm, and you can speak up about that, but creating controversy for the sake of controversy does not feel aligned to me at all. So that's the kind of approach that I bring to my content as well. It's about me getting louder, bolder, braver with my message. And, I don't care what anyone else is doing. If there are 100 ways to do the same thing, if someone else has a strategy that works for them, good for them. I'm absolutely here for that, right? But my job is to talk about what works for me, what works for my client, and also give them the freedom and space and flexibility to experiment, to have fun with their marketing. So in my content, I try to bring all of that vibe. I feel like that it's more about energy than anything, right? When you really believe in all of this and you are driven by this mentality, this mindset, it just precipitates into your content. People cannot help but see that energy in your content.
Yeah, I agree. It's completely a vibe. And this is why you see after a while, when people have been in business for a while and they find their feet and they find their message and they find that sweet spot, you're like, hang on, there you are. And that's how you get noticed, when you are fully aligned to your message and to what you talk about. Like you said, it does come through in your content. It's that energy, it's that vibe. It's almost like magic. So when people create, because content is one of the milestones and one of the markers of what we do. So what kind of content should people create to really speak to that ready to buy client? Because a lot of us, I feel like, a lot of the content, it's almost like there's content for content's sake. So how do you speak to the people that are ready to buy? Because nobody wants to just be on the content wheel forever. Like, we all want clients, right? So how do we speak to those clients that are ready to buy? Give me your money.
Yeah. So I look at those ready to buy clients as empowered clients. And those are the clients I speak to in my content, right? I look at my audience and I only feel like empowered clients are out there. That's what I visualize. And for me, what that means is that these clients are ready to commit now. They're ready to do the work now. They are not wavering on what they want. They are, I don't have to convince them that they need to invest in something. They are actively looking for investing. They want the transformation. They want the change. And they're just looking for the best transformation for them, right? And they're making the judgment based on who they want to work with rather than what they want. They already know what they want.
Yeah.
They know that they're going there. They know that they're going to be successful. There are a few missing pieces for them, or they're not really clear about the how, and that's what they're coming to you for. But also they're coming to you, right? It's not like they're not price shopping. They're not looking at okay, who's going to give me the most bonuses. That's not their criteria. They're looking at, this is the person I really want to be in the energy of, because of the values they have, because of the kind of content they write, because of how I experience their energy. And they don't need 100 different freebies to go through. They'll do their due checking and all of that to see the kind of testimonials you have and all of, of course you should be able to do that. But they don't need to be convinced that investing in yourself is a good thing. They already know that. So to speak to these kind of clients, and honestly, like, I have been the empowered client and I have been the disempowered client as well. So I've been the client who was not sure that I can actually do this. I just wanted a silver bullet. I just wanted, I was looking at my coach like, she's going to rescue me from here. And I'm sure it was not fun for that coach at all to work with me. And when you work with empowered clients, it's so much fun to work with them, because they're not really looking for your validation. They are looking for those pieces that they know that you have already accomplished, and you can help them get there faster, better, easier.
Yeah.
So it's just so much more fun to work with them. And when you are speaking to these clients in your content, you have to speak to the person that you know will get the most out of your offer, right? The person who's already ready for it, who knows that they're capable, who knows that they're worthy of whatever they want. You don't have to convince them on their capability. You don't have to convince them of their worthiness. They know that. They know that they are already going to get there, whether whatever they want, whether it is 10K months or sold out programs. They know they are going to get there, but they would like you to be on the journey with them. So the content that I write for these kind of people is to look at them as a whole grown person. Honestly, I don't treat them as I have to spoon feed them anything.
Yeah.
I speak to their fears, but I don't speak to the low frequency sort of objections that they might have. And I try to speak to the higher self in them.
Yeah. It's almost like, sorry to interrupt. Like my marketing brain's going. It's like the people that are problem aware and they are solution aware.
Yes.
There's that, that picturing the pyramid.
Journey.
Yes, because exactly. So they're problem aware, they're solution aware. They just need to find the right person, and they're with you for your expertise. Like you said, not for your validation. Mm-hmm. They want you for your expertise. So with the pieces of content that you create, do you almost my marketing brain's going here ideal client exercises. This is almost like an extension of your ideal client avatar, like knowing that person so well that you can write to them specifically.
Yeah, and I really don't care so much about demographics in my client avatar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care whether they are 25 years old living in Australia or they're 50 years old living in the US. Like I don't care about that. But it's so more about how do they think? How do they look at the world? And like I said, for me, it's very important that they have some sort of a mission, right? They're mission-driven women. That is one of the things that I look for in my clients. Are they driven by something more than money? And even if money is their mission, are they committed to that mission? Like, I want to make the most money in my family or something like that. That's the kind of mission that I'm looking for. And that is how I look at my clients. And this is a tip, especially if you're a coach. You have been that client, right? So you're probably, a few steps ahead of your client.
Yeah.
So you need to go back almost in your journey and think about what were you thinking at that time? So just to give you an example, like if you are talking to someone who wants to make their first 5K month, we've all made our first 5K months, right?
Yeah.
What was going on with us at that time? What were we scared of? What were we thinking? What were we looking around at the world? Get really clear about those things and speak to that. Those are the same things your client is going through right now. And that is why I always ask my clients, like when they're going through something, right? A crisis of confidence, or they are doubting themselves, or something is going on for them, I tell them to note it down because it's going to be great market research in a couple of months or, 6 months down the line, because then sometimes you don't remember those feelings because you've already crossed that bridge.
Yeah.
But that's how I do it. It's very intuitive, but at the same time, I feel it's much more tangible than any other kind of ideal client exercise.
Marketing is all, I feel like marketing is all intuition and feelings.
For sure.
A lot of it is. And that's where it can be so tricky and challenging as well as dangerous to, not cross into like the whole fear and pain points and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that you don't speak to sales objections, which is actually a really big thing, because anyone who teaches like sales page writing and things like that, or any of that, to kind of go into the objections. And I think that I have a feeling of like, I know where you're going, especially on sales conversations, because I've been on a few sales conversations and you just like could feel that yucky feeling creeping up and you're like, oh man, like cut it out. So why do you not speak to sales objections in your content?
So sales objections and fears are different for me, right? So my clients might be fearful about what more visibility might mean for them, or what standing in their truth might do for them. And I'll speak to that in my content all day long. But sales objections like lack of time, lack of money, not wanting to invest because of previous investments or something like that, those are not things that I want to address in my content. And honestly, those are things that I don't even want to have conversations with, even if they are on a sales call. Not because I don't, I feel like someone who has these objections is not a good client, or, they are not worthy. But I feel that there are so many people out there who don't have these objections, who have the money or the willingness to create the money, or they have the time, or they have the willingness to create the time, right? So I would rather speak to them and help them because they are ready for it now, right? That's what we mean by ready to buy clients. Is it's not just like, they are ready to take out their credit card and pay you. It's that mindset of readiness, that I'm willing to do whatever it takes for me to get the transformation that I desire. It's not just about money. It's about that commitment. It's about that being all in is what I feel. That's so that's why I feel like if I'm talking to, why you should invest in a coach, or it's important for you to take time out for your coaching, I'm just going to speak to the person who's not ready for me right now. Because if I'm convincing them in my content, I'll have to convince them on the sales call if I do those. And then I'll have to keep convincing them throughout the coaching experience as well. Right. And on the other hand, when I'm talking to someone who's ready to buy now, the only thing is that they might have a couple of, fears going on for them, or a couple of thought reframes that they need. They are just going to be ready to jump in, say, I'm all in, and they're going to commit. Like they're going to show up and do the work even when it gets hard. And I won't have to convince them that you need to speak your truth, that you need to stand up for yourself, like be in your power. I won't have to do all of those things. So, and I feel like those are the clients who will get the best results. So honestly, it's in their interest, because when they are all in, they are going to get the best results. So that's why I feel like if I don't speak to the sales objections, it's actually in the interest of the clients that I want to work with.
I love it. Yeah, I'm sitting here nodding my head. And just thinking about my own coaching experiences. And yeah, most of the times you are like, when I've gotten to the point of getting on a call with someone, I already know that I want to work with them. I just like, it's that last kind of like, let's connect and see if it, if my gut is really right about this. And just some questions, like I've worked with coaches in like other parts of the world, and usually it's just a few of those questions of like, how is this going to work, kind of thing. So I love it, like literally talking to the people that they are almost sitting with their credit card ready, let's be honest.
Just to give my own example, like I've invested in 5-figure coachings over DMs, like not even a sales call, just knowing that this is the person I want to work with, and I'm fully ready for this. And of course I was afraid, I was scared of what this might mean for me, how is it going to go?
Oh yeah, it's still a chunk of money.
But I knew that this is exactly what I want. So I did not need a sales call. I did not need them to convince me in any way. I just, like you said, like I had a few logistical questions. I asked those and I was in, right? So to anyone who's listening, there are more of us out there.
Yes.
There are so many more of us.
We don't need to convince people to invest their money all the time, which actually brings me to the next question, because it's a mindset thing, right? So what are the mindset tweaks someone needs to make to attract more empowered clients? Because fear is what comes up in my head.
I have 3 for you. So the first is to, if you want empowered clients, be an empowered client and be an empowered coach. Right. So if you are showing up the way you want your clients to show up, like be on time, don't have 100 different objections in your own mind. And if you have too many objections coming up, that just means that the coach is not right for you. And be an empowered coach, like treat your clients as grown-up humans. Don't assume things about them. I see this a lot. People look at someone and I have clients tell me this. Oh, she has messaged me before and she never signs up for my high ticket stuff. So they start making these assumptions, right?
Yeah.
Based on their past experiences.
It's very easy to do.
Yeah. So don't do any of those. Be an empowered client, be an empowered coach. The second mindset tweak, and this is the big one probably, is to believe in yourself, believe in your offer, and believe in your clients. I think anytime you're feeling, sales are not coming, or I'm not sure what's happening, my content is not working, something is feeling off, you got to look at those three things. How much do I believe in myself? How much do I believe in my offer? How much do I believe in my clients? Do I look at my community or my audience and I feel like they never buy from me, they don't like me, they don't care about my offers? Or I look at my offer and I'm thinking, no one is going to pay for that. I don't know what I've put in there. I'm not really sure about the copy. Like none of that matters. It's, it's important. I wouldn't say that copy is not important or content is not important, but your belief in your content and copy and your offer, it supersedes all of that.
Yes.
If you truly believe in what you have written, it does not matter whether it's on a Google Doc or it's on the most beautiful sales page ever. So
yes.
just get rid of those things and, start looking at what's really important here, which is your belief. And then the last thing is to let go of the attachment. So when when you want empowered clients and when you want ready to buy clients, sometimes it's going to take time, right? Because people are, like we said, people are at different points of their customer journey. So someone might take 6 months to be ready for you. And you have got to let go of that attachment, and that's where that disempowerment starts creeping in. When we see someone checking out our stuff and we feel like maybe I should just, message her and maybe I should just convince her to work with me. Let go of that. It's all happening. It's all going to come. You just need to stay true to your message, show up, and just be brave in your content, be bold in your content.
Yeah.
So those are the three things I feel are the most important mindset tweaks.
Thank you. I think it's coming down to magnetizing, but I can see how easy it is if you're not in that confident sort of space. And also when you were talking about believing in yourself, in your offer, that if you don't do that, that energy is gonna that's what you're putting out there as well. And we all know the law of manifestation, right? You basically get what you ask for. If that's where your energy is, that's kind of what you're getting back. So okay, so I always love to also do some actions, or like leave people with some actions. Can you leave us with 3 actions that people can take to make their content powerful and magnetic?
Yes, I love this stuff. I can talk about this all day. So the number one is probably the most important one, and the one that I keep repeating to my clients like a broken record. And sometimes, I feel like my clients don't take me seriously on this one, but after a few weeks or months, they come back and tell me, you were right. So I'm going to leave you guys with this one for sure. And that is show them, don't tell them. So what that means is become a product of your product, right? You can tell people all about, what you're doing, what your program does for your clients and the transformation and what it has and all of that. None of that compares to them seeing it in action in your life. So whatever you are selling, right? Whatever is the end result of your program, of working with you, become an embodiment of that. So you should be like a walking, talking testimonial of your own work.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you're a mindset coach and you're selling confidence, right? How do you show up as your most confident self? How do you take confident decisions? Talk about that in your content. That is the most magnetic thing ever. You can, do all kinds of posts. You can write 10 tips to do this, 7 ways to do that, but it's never going to compare with when people see you in action, you practicing what you preach. So that is the number one tip I'm going to give you. The second is to start, leaving the formulas of content away, like just keep them away from you a little bit and start speaking more from your heart. So I mentioned this before, like speak from your highest self to your client's highest self, because your client's highest self knows that they're worthy. They know that they're capable. They know that they truly deserve this. So speak to that part of themselves, and to speak to that higher self of your client, you need to step into your higher self where you're not worried about sales, where you're not worried about being rejected. You're not worried about what are people going to say if I really start talking about this, right? So that kind of content, it cannot be taught. It can only come from your heart. It can only come from your soul. So we need to see more of that in the online space. Like there's too much formula going on right now. I feel like we all need to step into our hearts and our souls a little bit more, because our clients need that. They are craving for that.
Yeah.
And
Connection.
then, real connection, right? And then the last tip is honestly, it's what not to do. It's basically stop talking about why you need to invest in your programs, why you need to do this, right? Why you need to work with a coach. Because if you're talking, you mentioned law of attraction, right? Like whatever you give attention to is what's going to grow. So if you're going to give attention to people who are worried about investment, people who are worried about, whether they should work with a coach or not, you're going to attract more of those people in your audience. So stop speaking to that. Like I mentioned, there are so many people out there who are ready to buy now, who don't need convincing now. So speak to them and take away all of this content of, which is talking about having to convince someone.
They just need to find you. And as soon as they find you, I've done that in the past, like, come across these people and I'm like, I need to buy everything you've got. I barely know them.
Yeah, I've listened to a podcast episode or two, and I'm like done. I'm like, this is the woman I want to work with.
Yeah.
And it can be that easy. I think that's one more mindset tweak I'll give you.
Yeah.
Let it be easy. It does not need to be so hard. You don't need to work yourself to the ground to let clients come to you. It can really be easy.
Yeah. It's almost like with the whole connection thing and speaking from your heart, it's almost like you need to step away to be, rather than hustle and try to like force this, formulated content calendar and post this on that day and that on that day. No. Step away from the screen and go inside. And I get my best content when I'm away from the computer, when I am tune, like, logged off, take some time, when you really get into yourself again. And I think a lot of people, they're probably craving that as well, because we live in such a switched on culture. Like there's this constant on. So having that connection, that spoke to me as well. Thank you. All right. Well, we are going to wrap up. I always have 2 more questions, and I'd love to know what you're curious about right now.
So what I'm most curious about right now is actually rest. That's what I'm most curious about. And I've been reading a lot of books about the culture of rest, the phenomenon of rest, and how our society has almost programmed, especially women, to believe that rest has to be earned. And I'm, like I mentioned before, I'm obsessed with everything brain. So I'm also reading about the science of rest and how it activates our brain, and also the productivity narrative. So just to like give you an example, there's this study, right, from Malcolm Gladwell's book, which talks about for you to master anything, you have to put 10,000 hours in it. And it's something that is quoted all the time, right? It's based on a research, on an actual research that was done. But nobody mentions that in the same research that they also said that these high performers who are putting in 10,000 hours of practice were also putting in 12,000 hours of deliberate rest and 30,000 hours of sleep. But you will not find that in any of the productivity narratives, right?
No.
10,000 hours is what is sold to us. Like, you got to put in 10,000 hours. Yeah. And it's not even like, it's over decades that they have put in those 10,000 hours. Yeah. Nobody is mentioning that. So it's this whole cultural narrative of, hustle and pushing yourself and more, and just constantly, doing.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious, and because I feel like I also want to be the right role model for my clients. So if I am doing constantly and I'm, just working all the time, I'm putting an invisible pressure on my clients to do the same. So I have become very mindful of what I do and how I do it, because I know even if I don't say it, my clients are looking at me.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm very, very curious about.
I love it. It's almost like less doing, more being.
Yes.
I'm feeling it right now. We're going into winter in Tasmania. It's like nature, right? It's like hibernation. It's we just need to take a leaf out of nature's book.
And it's so natural for our bodies to slow down during winters, and we fight against that. Because
I'm going to stop fighting against it. I just can't. It's like, I'm going to hibernate.
Yes.
If you had an extra $1,000 in your marketing budget, what would you spend it on?
Okay, so I'm not saying this because I'm on a podcast with you right now, but honestly, paid ads. I haven't used paid ads at all till now, but I feel like I'm about to be ready for that. So I'm really, that is something I'm going to start doing more of. So yeah, for sure. That's what the money would go for.
It amplifies what you do.
Yeah.
That's all it does. It amplifies what you already do.
And I, like you said, right? Once you find your feet, your message inside and out. I think that's the time you feel like, I'm ready for paid ads, because that's going to just like amplify my work.
Oh, your message is completely applicable to Facebook ads as well. It's like you shouldn't really do them until you've got all of that right. Until you are speaking.
You are an empowered client.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, I wish I could talk to you longer, but we got to wrap up at some point. My dogs are actually starting to stir. So that is the end of this week's show. If you have questions about how to sell to the empowered, ready to buy clients in your content, head to swapnathomas.com. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Swapna. I really loved talking to you.
Same here, Bianca. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. And thanks to you for listening. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe and leave a 5-star rating and review on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you heard the podcast. Your review will help others find the show and learn more about the amazing world of online marketing. And don't forget to check out the show notes for this episode at newschoolofmarketing.com, where you can learn more about Swapna, check out the useful links, download free resources, and leave a comment about the show.